Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh Ji. Welcome to Sarb Samrath podcast. It's not a podcast, it's just a meeting with artists, and we're going to figure out and talk to them about their experiences as a Sikh artist and talking about and sharing their knowledge and wisdom. Right now, we have the man, the myth, the legend, Ravjot Singh Kapoor. So, Ravjot Singh
Yeah.
Kapoor is an artist from Canada who specializes in Sikh miniature paintings, and he does put his own twist and his own blend to Sikhi, which stands out as a very different genre of itself. So we're going to start now. So Veerji, tell me about something like in general, like how was your upbringing like? Was it like exposed to the arts or was it not exposed to the
Well, no, actually, I'm very much exposed to the art, like as in since my birth, I guess. So I come from a long lineage of artists, actually. Like as in my great grandfather was an artist. He was a Meenakari artist, and he was a founding student in Mayo School of Art, Lahore. And actually, we like as in I guess there's this famous portrait of him. It's like as in it's going around Instagram these days, where Queen Elizabeth kind of like as in commissioned someone to do paintings from the school itself. And I don't remember the painter's name, but he did a painting of a portrait of a 12-year-old. I guess that was his age, 12-year-old Sundar. His name was Sundar Singh. So he did a portrait of Sundar, and it's a very famous one. And that's my, I guess, great grandfather. And then again, my grandfather, like as in he was an artist too, like as in he specializes in Rapusi work. Nowadays, that technique is kind of like as an extinct kind of. It's very rare. Very few people does it. Same with my father, but then my father went into production because, like as in my great grandfather was an immigrant in India, like as in after 47, like as in they have to shift to India. And then in order to survive and in order to make sure his family is well fed, they went into production rather than being an artist. They chose the business side of it. And then even like as in the business, like as in they kind of like as in had this artistic side to it, and they put all the efforts while doing the business of it. And then like as in two generation, my grandfather and my father was like as in kind of busy in making business and making sure the family is well fed and well, like as in well settled. And now I'm, I guess, the fourth generation of the artist. But then again, like as in terms of exposure of art, I kind of had a different kind of exposure rather than being. I've never went to exhibitions as such. My father was very well. He still is a very busy man, and so does my grandfather. And I never went to any exhibitions sort of.
Hmm.
But then since the way I know, like the way I remember, I always used to draw things. And everybody like isn't used to encourage me like isn't to do much more things and stuff like isn't I used to paint, I used to draw a lot. And there's this one habit we like isn't I lived in a joint family, and we all cousins have these one kind of like as in habit where on the newspaper we tend to draw mustaches and beard and pagga
Yeah.
over the ear each and every image, and those things were there. Yeah, so those things were there, and it was always encouraged. And like as in I passed my 12th, like as in the 12th standard, while doing sketches and stuff. And then I went to actually a fine art school, like as in here in Delhi, also the College of Art. It's under
Oh.
Delhi University. And I did my commercial art there rather than fine arts. So I'm more of an advertising guy, and I learned fine art, like as in I learned the whole thing, the typography, the poster making, the designing side of it, the graphic designing side of it. But then I've never quit doing paintings as such. Even in my college, like as in most of my topics I choose was based on somewhat around Sikhi, like as in since the whole, I guess the surroundings or the ambience within the house or within the friends and stuff Well, always around like in stories of Sikhism and stories of like in, from even from our family, which is like is in a Sikh family. So there's always kind of like is in a, subconsciously there's always a topic of Sikhi somehow. So I enjoyed it. Like as in even in my college days, like as in during my graduation, I like as in unintentionally chooses to make Sikhi topics, and they stand out. And most of the my like as in fellow artists or the like my friends and stuff, they have kind of different topic, but mine one was very unique, and then it stands out, and people used to like as in instantly like as in pick up like as in this is his work rather than like as in getting mixed in the whole lot. So I would say like as in I was very fortunate. Maybe Kippa was always there, but then after college, like as in I went to advertising, and advertising is a different field altogether. Like as in,
Absolutely.
it's yeah, the media industry will suck you in, and then it suck it all. So I I spent almost around 9 to 10 years in media industry, like as in being in advertising.
Wow.
I started as a trainee art director, then became a visualizer, then became an art director, then became a creative director, and eventually left for Canada after that. In Canada, I did my post graduation in UI UX, like I said,
Okay.
web designing and user experience and like I said, user interface. And then I joined a design firm over there, and I was working for I guess 2 to 3 years in a design firm. And during these times in Canada, like as in since it in Canada it was a hectic life, or like as in you don't have a family, you don't have a friend circle.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It was a roller coaster in terms of like as an emotional, in terms of physical, everything. Like as in it was a total change. So I was kind of like as in a different zone. I would say like as in maybe in a darkish zone where I don't know who am I. Like as in I was like as in on just on the ground zero of myself, and then like as in Kirtan and Gurbani and these things helped a lot. And in terms of remembering these things, or in terms of understanding these things, I'm always like like as in people tell you, like as in they advise you, like hey, if you want to learn something, just write it down. You grasp fast, or maybe something like that. But for me, it's always painting. So I thought like as in why not make a visual journal out of it rather than like as in writing stuff. I don't write. My vocabulary is very poor. Like, as in, it's not. I'm not a writer as such. Until and unless I'm like very zoned in, then maybe I could write something. In advertising, I used to write a lot, but then that was advertising. This is not advertising. This is my life's learning. So I don't want to like make it like jing bang or stuff. This is just for me. Like, as in, I started it that way. So I started doing a visual journal out of it, like whatsoever I learn, whatsoever I experience. So while reading, listening to someone's katha, or listening to someone's advice, listening to any kind of Gurbani, listening to any kind of Shabad,
Hmm.
I made a habit like as in pause and then read it again with the meanings of the Gurbani, and then kind of like as in reflect back on my life where it happens, or how can I connect with this? And that made me started doing paintings. So most of the paintings are basically like as in a visual journal
Yeah.
of my experiences of my life. Like as in some people say it's Sikhi or Sikhi based,
Yeah.
and but if you notice, like as in I do like as in a lot of my self portraits too, and like as in even doing Sikhi paintings also, I try to put myself in one way or another. If you like to notice it carefully. So yeah, so I started it that way, and now it became like a meditative state where I just enjoy doing it. I enjoy reading about new things. I enjoy listening to more, kathas and stuff, listening to different perspective of what I've been like as in I know about these things still now, but there's always a different perspective. And like we on Earth, like we are, I guess, 1.6 billion. How many we are? 7 billions. I'm
That
not sure how many.
it is growing.
I mean, yeah,
It's
the
growing.
number is endless. And but then there are different perspectives too of the same thing, and it is like that only. So
Yeah.
it's not a bad thing to listen to somebody's perspective. Like
Hmm.
saying just pick up the good things and just trash out the rest. And I guess that made me like as in understand these things a lot quicker, a lot better.
Yeah.
So I just listen to like as in different people and different kind of things, and kind of made my own mind, and then put it in a visual journal of my like we call paintings.
That's
So
amazing.
yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
The fact that you started off come going into something very different and now you're doing something very different, which is again part of your expression. As an artist myself, I can definitely relate to your journey going to Canada. I'm going to Australia, studying music here and stuff, and having that same experience, it just kind of hit home. So I just
Yeah.
want to ask you one question following up from that. What initially inspired you to explore Sikh miniature painting and pre-colonial art?
You know what? Like, as in, this happened very naturally. Like, as in, if you go through my page, like, as in, you'll see a different kind of art. Like, as in, if you scroll down a lot, like, as in, I was doing something else, and it was it was coming out naturally at that point of time. Like, as in, I was doing brush and ink and dark stuff and something like that. I guess my mind worked that way because I was in an industry where, like, as in, where you don't have anything, it's very darkish for me. And like as in, I vented out with some things, and these things came out, and those are equally nice for me. Like as in, but then I happen to be in an accident, and I happen to realize the life is very short, and after that, and after that, I guess I lost my that style, and this thing came so naturally to me. Like as in, so it's very it's very natural to me to pick up a pencil and just start doodling about my thoughts, and the side pose and the way the miniature has the whole style of doing human figures. I just happened to draw that, and I realized that this is not my style. Like as an I started, like as an I wanted to do something else, and this came out something very different. And then I started reading about like as a miniature, like as an didn't know knew about the miniature stuff, but I started with like as in paying attention to the miniatures and stuff. And at that point of time, I started reading the spiritual stuff too, like as in the body and different kind of things, which makes you like as in calm in terms of your mind, in terms of your whole surrounding and stuff. So I guess this style was like felt very justified to me for these kind of topic, rather than doing dark stuff and like as in the ink brush and stuff. This style came out very natural to me while I was like as in researching and doing like as in or reading about these things, and I it happened to like as in just mix quite naturally, I guess. And I felt very justified using these kind of style in these kind of topics, and like as in it felt so good, I guess, eventually.
I
So
remember when
yeah, like
kind of was discovering your page. I think you were amongst like almost like start. You were relatively known, but like you were essentially phasing into the miniature side of things. I remember looking at that Akali picture of multiple heads. That was one of the pictures that was firstly first that was exposed to me, and I was like, "This is amazing. This is actually pretty sick." Not,
uh,
I've actually because you have many artists, right? And the difference, I think, in towards your approach and other artists' approaches, they tend to copy everything and try to replace it by making subtle changes, while your art itself seemed like an expression of something else while deriving inspiration from that style.
True.
So,
Well, I would say I would say I'm still not a miniature artist, first of all. Miniature art is very difficult, and the techniques are like as in those people are doing miniature art, they by God, like as in they have there's something else, like as in Maharaj Kirpa Karan, another like as in I'm not a miniature artist right now, but then like as in yeah, I'm inspired from well, like as in the miniature art itself. I'm inspired from Mughal art itself. Like as in I love the way they put details in their work. Like as in the Patshanama, the different kind of things they've done during their time. Like as in apart from the bakwas they did, but the artists were really good, at that
yeah,
point
yeah,
of time. Actually, like as in I'm just talking about the artists, nothing else. And those people, like as in those people have skills. As in, and doing miniature with that kind of skills, you need a lot of patience, and you need some kind of like as an energy or kirpa doing, but to get those kind of results. I'm still exploring these things. Like as in, I'm fairly new in the painting
yeah,
kind of, and fairly new to this technique, but then I enjoy doing it, and I put all the efforts while doing the painting, and I want it to be the best when I'm doing it, and when it's done, it's done. During the process I don't even realize what I'm doing, like, and it's just happening, I just set myself loose and it's happening. And sometimes like as an after a certain point of time, like when it's done, and I happen to stare like as in my paintings a lot, or maybe in terms of like as in paintings a lot, like as in I happen to stare them a lot, like as in check out the details where it happens, like as in even if somebody else's work, like as in I happen to just check them, like as in कितने उन्हें की details पाई हैं, what
yeah.
kind of shading, what kind of techniques they have used. You won't believe if you notice, you can even see the finest of brush strokes going on in the paintings, even it's in the miniature one. I do these things a lot, and sometimes I feel like as an a kado ban gaya, you feel like as an a kado bane, but then it, it's I just like it. Like as in I'm still exploring new things. Like as in a lot of people advised me, like as in to actually like as in learn the traditional techniques, and I'm doing it right now. Like as in I'm learning natural pigments and use of handmade papers and stuff, so that I could justify the universal technique going on in this world too, rather than experimenting and just be myself. "हाँ जी, yeah, ये तो मेरा ही," something. No, 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 no. I'm learning too, and then I want to experiment on that too. So I've got a lot of questions too regarding the techniques and stuff. And like as in the beauty of doing experiments is like as in when your questions get resolved, and you might create wonders, and you might fail. I'm not scared of both.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So, Virji, can you describe your whole creative process? Like you've mentioned it briefly, but in terms of like coming up from a concept to making it into like art, you've mentioned you've used like expression, like what happens with you and all of your background that comes into play. But can you elaborate further in regards to how that is displayed on the canvas?
Okay. In terms of process, I don't have one, first of all. Like, as in, there is no process where I follow, like, as in, this is step one, this is step two. No, I don't have any kind of steps. What I usually, like, as in, what I've noticed, what happened is basically when I'm kind of like, as in, first of all, like, as in, I'm usually lost in my life. Like, as in, I don't happen to give importance to anything at all. Like, as in, until and unless, like, I'm into something, right? when I'm reading or when I'm listening, when I pick something up which like as in gains attention up, like as in this is something interesting. I happen to like as in go deep into that part a lot, like as in and then start researching about that thing. So for example, like as in you mentioned the painting of like as in five heads of the Akali one, like as in the painting is called Punch.
Oh,
Punch means five.
oh,
And I was reading about the Battle of Chamkor, and there's this one instance where like as in everyone like as in the Saki goes like as in order to fight with the 100,000 enemies, the Afghans or like as in the Mughals, and whosoever was there, like as in there used to be five warriors from the fort comes out in a group and then
yeah,
fight at
yeah,
one point of time.
yes.
So this painting is inspired from that story only.
Interesting.
So yeah, so now your perspective changed, right? Now
Yeah,
you see the painting in that perspective. You won't you'll see it in a very different lens. So if you see from one point perspective, we're a group of five people making a circle and fighting the whole thing. How would you see people? Like, as in the one person is in front,
yeah,
maybe one or two head is looking from here, and maybe three or four coming from there, and their hands, if they're fighting on every direction,
yeah,
the 360 direction, their hands will be like as in it will show. I I'm just giving you a one point perspective in terms of like as in a visual. That's how I learned that story. And if I look at the painting, like as in, I know first of all, like as in how they used to fight, because I've happened to like as in read the kind of like as in researched a little about the fighting techniques, how they used to fight. Like as in, I
interesting.
happened to like as in saw one of Nidar Singh's I guess podcast where he actually explained how the group formed, and the center, the whosoever was in center used to throw chakra, and the rest
Yeah,
of the four people has their the weapons ready, and their killing radius is around, I guess, 5 to 10 meters. So basically nobody can enter in the radius of like is in 5 to 10 meters. So they form a group while fighting. It's not like that, like as in five people come out and just go around and then kill 10,000 or maybe 20,000 warriors. They were not just people, or like as in they were not just shepherds or something. They were warriors too, like as in on the other side of it. And killing that much amount of people takes skills,
yeah,
takes tactics, takes some kind of strategy. And on our side, like the Sikh side of like the Khalsa side, they have everything, right, in terms of tactic, in terms of like skills and stuff. So while doing these paintings, I do kind of research too, like as an, and
yeah.
then those research change the perspective and change the visual of the paintings. And I guess that's why it's kind of a little different from so I have seen a lot of paintings too, like since childhood. We have seen a lot of paintings in the Gurdwaras too, and in the books too, which we read for the Sakhis and stuff. But then, for my understanding, what happened and how it happened was the question. Like, as in, it's fairly easy to say, like, as in, 40 Singhs fight with 10, like, as in 1 lakh warriors, and they happen to kill 10 to 20, or maybe,
Yeah.
like, as in these many warriors. But then the question, if at all, like as in these times when your study is low, and I have no knowledge about, like as in when you question these things, the answers are already there. You just have to find it out.
Mm.
And I was in a like as in I was in a situation where I didn't have any kind of like as in circle where I could ask someone. And like as in there are a lot of scholars these days, those who have studies these things, like as in Shastra Vidya, and the history of whole thing, the history of these stories, and the where it happened, how it happened, when it happened. There are scholars too, those who have done PhDs maybe with their history and stuff. But I didn't have any kind of connection, so I have to like as in research on my own. and I happen to like as in be on a result where I can paint this painting. It might be wrong, might be true, but it's true to myself. Like as in it's very honest painting for my learning. So whatever I learned, I just happen to put it in a visual, and I love it. It's in my father's living room, and he
Oh,
happened to has his like as in he was like as in I want this painting, like as in it's not going anywhere.
yeah.
It'll be in my living room. So yeah, it's there. So
I
yeah, so my yeah, all of the visuals, all of the visuals, like as an I've did till now, it's kind of like a visual journal
yeah.
from my experiences and my life experiences or my learnings. Yeah,
Every single time I like look at any work, right? I was looking at, and I was really fascinated about Dush Daman one as well. That was
yeah,
really nice. The strokes of blood there were there on that one. I love
yeah.
Shahi Daswi. That is just such a
Ab
beautiful.
it's written ab rachha meri tum karo sikh war sikh sangaro.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's so good. Like it feels it is just such a different take towards art history and like Sikh arts in general. So I just want to ask you, following up from there, like all of this unique medium that you've created through your own expression, what are the challenges that you've encountered as a Sikh artist working in your field?
Well, like I said, first of all, the research. I'm not a reader. This it's always been difficult for me to like as in sit and read about these things. And yeah, like as in I guess the major challenge was like as in even if you read, right, you still have questions. Like
Correct.
as in books don't have everything until and unless it's been like as in if somebody teaches you the whole thing, you know what I mean, like as in it's one thing to narrate things for your own, like as in there's a paragraph, you read it, ikon the prasanga, ikon the vyakhya,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know, the meaning of it, like as in what's the take, how and why, because you can't explain all of things in just one paragraph or in just one page or even in one just book, like as in there's a whole lot of story going behind it. I've had this like as in the difficulty of getting my questions answered. So, but then I guess eventually, slowly, like as in I got this habit of like at least, yeah, even if like as in if you have to be true to your paintings or be true to your subjects, like as in you have to read it eventually. But
mm,
then even while you're reading it, like isn't there are a lot of different books and everyone says differently, like isn't their take is different. So whom to whom and whom to like isn't pick and whom to trust and whom to like isn't kind of like isn't take his feedback and take his judgment and then draw on it, because like isn't it's not about like isn't getting you know acknowledgement or any approval from people.
yeah,
But the way I do is like as in I want to be as true as possible for myself in order to justify the painting or the topic itself. That's the whole difficulty I have. Even I still have that kind of difficulty. What I need is basically some kind of like as in a resource where like as in I can tap in and ask researchers or maybe like as in scholars, where like as in I put in one query, like as in this is what I'm thinking and this is what I'm reading about. What's your take on it? Like as in can you tell me which where should I read? Do you have something in your mind? Tell
mm,
me like as in a book or like as in guide me through. I don't want you to sit with me and then do my job. Like as in and I don't want like as in to waste your time. Just guide me through, and then like as in the rest effort is mine. But then like as in right now I don't have like as in fortunately now I can like as in I ping a few people, and then out of 10 maybe two reply back, and then they kind of guide me whosoever like as in likes the work and then stuff that they like about like whatsoever is going, they kind of they're generous enough to reply back. But then there's always this difficulty of having the proper knowledge, you know. There are a whole lot of books we don't know about, and people have done research about those books too,
Yeah.
and people have researched did their, you know, like as in PhDs on these kind of books. They have a different kind of knowledge I can't even think of.
Mm.
And in order to make visuals of those knowledge, like I said, that's my goal, ultimate goal. But then it should be accessible too
Right.
for guys like me, you know.
Right.
So yeah, that's the challenge. Again, this was one. Second one was like I said, I haven't done painting for like is in a lot of like is in, since I was in advertising, I was doing like an ink and brush only. That was the easiest medium I had. But now I'm shifting to a different kind of technique where like is in you have to have a knowledge of some sort of, you know, paintings, you know, the paint and you know the paper you use and stuff.
Yeah.
Thank God there's a YouTube, but then but then YouTube again, like isn't doesn't answer your queries. Like isn't YouTube will show videos whatever you've put. Like isn't they pick up the SEOs. They
Yeah.
don't pick your questions, right? But if anyhow, like isn't there's someone who can reply back to your query, which is kind of like isn't. So I want to do miniature for example,
Mm.
or I want to do watercolor.
Yeah.
Where should I start? What kind of paper do I use? What kind of brushes there are for watercolor, or what kind of brushes should I use for miniature paintings?
Mm.
How natural pigments, like, where can I buy natural pigments? First of all, like, these days, there are people who are selling ready to use natural pigments also, but there's a whole lot of process to grind it and then, you know, like I said, make natural pigments to use in the painting first of all. But
Yeah.
then there are a whole lot of people who are selling ready to use natural pigments, so you can skip the whole process of like as in grinding the whole thing and doing the technique of it, like as in preparing the color. You can directly start it, you know.
Interesting.
But these things, who will tell you? Like as in if someone live in like as in things like as in if they have interest, you know, happen to start, they want to start like as in painting with natural pigments first of all, like some who'll guide them? Otherwise they have to join in master classes of like as in this and
Yeah.
that, you know.
One
Even
big
the online
issue I
class.
feel like for like especially miniature paintings in general is like if you're at one corner of the world, let's say I'm in Australia and I want to learn
Mm,
miniature paintings and all the techniques, there's no one here and there's no online resources. Majority of them are gone at a particular, are like located at a certain area of the world where they've got specialists, but none of them have made it like very public, those techniques. So I feel like
yeah.
that's also one of the things that
No,
is.
even so nowadays there are workshops going on, but then at a very few places.
Hmm.
And those, so I won't say like isn't it's not affordable. These workshops are affordable too, but then the accessibility of it is not there yet, like I said, you know, like as in feels like as in it's still not accessible yet.
Hmm.
But in terms of online workshops too, even if you can join online workshops, but these things like as in you can get your query solved online somehow,
Hmm.
but then these things need a supervision initially on top, like as in there, I feel like there has to be a presence of some master around you, so that if you're doing so online teaching, I don't think so like as in they can check your strokes, how your strokes are working, you know. They can
Correct.
teach you a basic thing, like as in these things has to be done,
Hmm.
and they'll like as in, you know, put you on your own, like as in I have taught you whatever the basic things were, and you can do it. I mean, they can solve half of the things, but then not fully. But then yeah, even the online things and even like as in the workshops, like the offline workshops and online workshops
Hmm.
should be more accessible to a lot of people. Nobody, like as in some people are just exploring a few things. They
Hmm.
might not choose this, But to have knowledge of these things is not a bad idea at all. As
Mm.
in to have knowledge of a lot of things is always good. You
Yeah.
don't have to be a painter eventually if you know natural pigments, or
Yeah.
if you know acrylic paintings, or if you know oil paintings, or if you're a mechanic, you don't if you know how to repair a car, you don't have to be a mechanic, you know.
What messages or emotions do you aim to express through your art?
Well, there is no there is no message at all, like as in I would say. I guess it's just my feeling. The feeling is very like as in it's the emotions are overwhelming and I can't express it through the words. Like as in like I said, my vocabulary is low and I happen to like as in it's very difficult for me to express a lot of things. Paintings does help, and these are more like the way I'm feeling or the way um, the emotions are in right now, and I'm just letting them out. And the good thing is like as in I'm kind of like as in catering these emotions and these feelings with some kind of reference from the spiritual side of it, like as in getting references from Gurbani, getting references from different something, or some like as in old superior beings, those who are happen to be like as in knowledgeable, they have some kind of spiritual knowledge, and I'm fortunate and grateful enough, like as in I'm kind of like as in started referencing my feelings and emotions through their work, and the learning is quite amazing actually, and in this process I'm learning, I happen to memorize Gurbani too, and while I when you read different kind of things, and when you have, so for example, like as in the love emotion, or maybe the barag of it, like as in you don't have to express as well "जे दिल टूटा या फिर दिल चुड़िया," you don't have to express it in very certain point of view. You can express yourself in very differently, like as in sometimes I feel to just paint self portraits,
Mm.
and those portraits I feel, I don't know people like as in how they perceive them, but for me every self portrait is very different. And I've done one portrait with just the pencil line and the gold around it, like it says Udik, when I'm waiting for the loved one or waiting for someone to, cater my the whole being. And there's this one recently I did the blue portrait of me, which the
Yeah, I
painting
saw
name is
that. That's,
Fastley, which I send you to.
yeah, yeah, that's
The
amazing.
painting Yeah, the painting name is Fastley. So I was feeling very distant from everyone. So the
Mm.
whole feeling of it is very kind of sad. So that's why the color blue naturally comes in. And
Yeah.
the gold part. So I use gold. I happen to use gold quite lately in my paintings. I was just exploring watercolors and stuff. The
Mm.
gold part of the paintings I usually is the divine presence in my painting. So I usually use it in the halos, or where I want to highlight something with the divine presence you know, of the life of
Mm.
the paintings is used in gold. So if you notice of like as in paintings now, like as in the gold usage is very different painting to painting, like as in even if I do self portraits and stuff, and
Yeah.
even if I do different kind of like as in Sikhi paintings, or maybe like as in the recently I did Radha Krishna painting, the Union, the
Yeah,
Milap
yeah,
one. Gold is always there in some sort of in some form, or like as in that depicts the divine presence also, like as in, and the topics are such, they're
yeah.
very pure, like as in I just want to justify the whole feeling, and then the divine presence is always there, like as in terms of making it pure and feeling it more, you know it's very unique, and soft G, like as in there is
Yeah,
no
yeah.
bad thing going on. So that's why. So yeah, like as in these things, I'm just exploring my feelings and my experiences through, like I said, like as in some things are beyond words,
Mm,
and painting does help, journalizing those things, and it helped me a lot, like as in to feel lighthearted, and I just let out those feelings. And when I see the painting done, I feel like yeah, like something is, finally lifted out from my heart or from my mind, and I can
mm.
be in more peace now. So yeah.
That's amazing. It just really changes your perspective because these things you don't notice that much, like the presence of gold. And once you look at the artwork again, and then actually you realize the
Yeah,
subtle intricacies of like
yeah,
that Shingar ras, what kind of ras you're
yeah,
like displaying, right? Um,
yeah.
Barag ras, the presence of gold. I feel like yeah, that just changes the whole perspective on things. So thank you
Yeah.
for sharing that.
I I I'll give you one more example. Like as in so this is one painting I did of there's this FIFA Fateh where I'm kind of like as
Yeah.
in like as in there's a PlayStation remote in one of my hand, and
Yes.
then one one hand on top of it, like as in. So I was listening to by Inderjeet Singh Bombay wale. He did an amazing kirtan of the Samgranth, where he was reciting this Shabad Pai Jeet Meri Kripa Kaal Keri Ranam Jeet Aaye Jayam Geet Gaye, right? And there's
Yeah.
this whole katha also, like as in where so the whole there's a whole story Guru Gobind Singh Ji written about the Pangani Yudh, and then the like as in this the come भाई जीत मेरी कृपा काल केरी, right? Even though he is victorious, like then he's dedicating everything, this is your kripa, right? And I happened, like then I was just listening to this music, and then this kirtan, and then we in like as in at our house, like as in our flatmates, like as in kind of arranged the whole FIFA tournament on PlayStation 5. So we were 5 to 7 people, like when we did the whole tournament, and I happened to won the whole tournament.
That's amazing.
And at that point of time, I remembered that Shabad.
Yeah.
एकदम ही याद आया. I was like, यार, so Inderjeet Singh explained it very simply and well. He said at one point of time, like, even though like Guru Gobind Singh Ji, nobody can defeat him, like in terms of
Mhm.
like the skills and stuff. But then he again, like dedicated everything to it's Kripa Kal Teri.
Mm.
So I remembered that Shabad when I won that FIFA tournament, and now it sticks with me all the time. Like I now I memorize that Shabad. मुझे याद हो गया है. So you can refer that Shabad to your life too. I'm not saying I'm comparing that Shabad to I can't,
Yeah.
but there's this way to memorize certain kind of things. I
Mhm.
memorize these kind of things with these kind of like making art, or like as in referring to some kind of a moment happened in your life. So I did. So if you notice that painting of like as in the painting is like as in one ungal is on top,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. I
and
remember.
there's this halo of gold on the index finger. So the
Interesting.
divine presence, I'm signaling to the top, like as in a Kippa Kalkiri, and
Mhm.
there's the divine presence on top of the index finger. So yeah, like as in when I see that painting, right, I
Mm.
remember the whole instance, what happened, the whole feeling of it, like as in what I felt, like as in when I won that tournament, first of all, and how I remembered
Mm.
that whole Shabad, and then I remembered the whole katha of Inderjeet Singh, how he explained that Shabad. It's very simple. You
Mm.
just have to look at that visual,
Mm.
sort it. I don't have to go through again, like, find through I Gurbani and stuff, and then, like, read it out again with the
Yeah.
meanings
Yeah.
and stuff. The meaning is already there now. It's
Kedangsi, Kedangsi.
yeah, exactly. It happens a lot until and unless you kind of like memorize it in some way, right?
Mhm.
How you like for me, I usually memorize it either with tune, the music of it,
Mm.
either with some kind of meaning, like ਇੱਕ ਤੁਕ ਯਾਦ ਆ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੈ, and then ਉਹਦੇ ਅੱਗੇ ਪਿੱਛੇ ਦਾ ਸਾਰਾ ਯਾਦ ਆ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਹੈ, either with some kind of instance happen. Like, so
Mm.
for this one, like the instance is there. So I just have to see that painting done.
Mm.
Yeah,
Certainly.
yeah. Back to Jameen.
Nice. So we'll be coming
So
up to the
yeah,
question. In your view, why is it crucial to preserve and promote Sikh art traditions today?
uh, it's a good one, and it's actually, I think for me, like as in, I'll tell you from my experiences why it's important. First of all, like as in, we kind of like as in we are losing the whole the khajana we had or we have actually, and we're losing it, and generation by generation, like as in I am like as in I think we will, like as in most of the part is already lost because of the lot of controversies within the community itself, like as in the most like as in the clashes between different kind of sects and different kind of thinking.
Hmm.
But then it is important because treasure is treasure eventually, you know
Hmm.
ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਦੇਖਣ ਦਾ perspective change ਹੋ ਸਕਦਾ ਹੈ but ਖਜ਼ਾਨਾ ਖਜ਼ਾਨਾ ਹੀ ਰਹਿੰਦਾ ਹੈ
Yeah.
and खजाना preserve करना ही चाहिए है in any ways, like isn't it? It's very, it should be very natural and very sensible, or to preserve the treasure, like
Hmm.
isn't, and I guess our culture is full of it,
Yeah.
because I guess our culture is the amalgamation that they've picked every gem from everywhere and then put it in one thing.
Yeah.
It's just amazing. It's just amazing. Like as in, we've been taught not to, like as in, we've been taught, like as in, to live harmoniously with everyone, like as in to be to just believe in one God, and to just to to earn honest living, to eat good, like as in to be fit, to like as in give the karo, to naam japo, to do simran at all, and like as in just eat with everyone, share wherever it's need. These are very simple, very human things to do. It's very, and losing this is like as in, I feel like as in losing human side of human. You know what I mean? Like as in, you won't be human if you lose this.
Yeah.
It's just feel like in you're just a animal,
Hmm.
and but there's nothing that there's no empathy. And right now the stage is like that. I'll give you an example, like as in, and in terms of like as in culture, we lost our culture too, like as in, this is the time where Sikh boys, like as in, and those who are 2021 doesn't even know, like as in, 10 Guru Saiban names. They,
Yeah.
like as in, I'm not expecting the stories or the sakis out of it,
Hmm.
but then they don't even know the names. Like as in, forget about like as in the values and the cultures. They just know that if there's a Guru Purab, you have to go to Gurdwara.
Yeah.
They don't know. They don't know the purpose of it.
Yeah.
They don't know why. And if you ask them why you're doing this, they don't know.
Hmm.
Like as in, they're like as in, I don't eat non-vegetarian, or I don't eat chicken or mutton when there's a Guru Purab or stuff. And as soon as the clock ticks at 12 and the another day starts according to them, they
Yeah.
start eating it. I mean, yeah, I mean, think about these things. This is very, I mean, I don't know what should I say. I feel like I feel like the study of it, the education of the basic education, the basic the basic sanskar of being of a culture, not
Hmm.
even religion. The religion is a separate thing. But of a culture is lost too.
Hmm.
Being being uh being a Sikh, first of all, like being a Sikh of Guru Nanak will make you a human, a good human, right?
Hmm.
Will make you empathetic, will make you like isn't more humble, will make you more grounded.
Hmm.
You won't be, killing just because of money, or you won't be like as in, making. or ਕਿਸੇ ਦਾ ਫਾਇਦਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਚੱਕੋਗੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ just because you ਆਪਣੇ ਮਤਲਬ ਲਈ ਜਾਂ something. A lot of things. And these days, like these kind of sanskar are not there anymore. And
Yeah.
I feel like if we can somehow preserve these stories or these sakhis in any form that
Mm.
will teach these things, these basic things, I
Mm.
guess, like as in पहला इंसान बन लिए फिर तो next step चल जाएंगे I guess so. But I feel like from my experiences, like as in हाले ते आपा इंसान वाले भी नहीं बने, you know. So I started like as in I had like as in I started these things for myself to कि मैं भी पहला इंसान बन जाए in my journey to शायद मैंने देखा देखी या मेरी पेंटिंग्स ਨੂੰ देखा देखी शायद कोई ये चीजां भी सीख जा. Like as in if you do visuals, right,
Mm.
and you ask question, it starts a conversation, right? Like as in when you see something which is different from what you haven't seen, it the whole purpose of doing the visual art is it should start a conversation. That's my whole
Mm.
struggle. If at all, like I said, the conversation has started and I am not, you know, there should be people around, like as in those who are ample enough to like as in justify the whole story sakhi of it. Like as in not I'm not a good pracharak, I would say, like as in that I'm not a good storyteller, or maybe my vocab is not that good. My मेरी भाषा इतनी वधिया शायद ना होवे, you know.
Mm.
But then even if I'm starting a conversation where people are asking about what exactly is this, why are you doing this, and what have you done it, like as in, you know, to start a conversation where I can
Conversation.
explain, I think I'm doing the good job. I
Yeah.
think मैं milestone भी ज़्यादा बड़ा नहीं रखा कि you know कि I want to be like as in Picasso of 2020 21st century or something. No, just want to start a conversation which we are losing.
Yeah. Yeah.
People don't know about the stories, and these stories are amazing,
Absolutely.
like amazing. And these stories happened just 500 years back. You know, like it's not even ਏਦਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ ਕਿ you know 70,000 BC we were talking about Shiva, and you
Yeah.
know like it's in 1000 BC we were talking about someone else, and some, it's not just 500 years old stories. And we first of all like then forgot about it. Forget about the rest of the world, those who don't know about Sikhism or who we are in terms of like as in terms of religion, in terms of people, in terms of culture. We even don't know what who we are.
Mm.
We still have clashes who we are. Like अपने perspective match नहीं हो रहे.
Mm.
Then I think it's high time, like as in okay, we should preserve these kind of stories. I guess with any kind of perspective is okay until and unless we are preserving the stories. Perspective will always be there. Like
Yeah.
as in it's like Chinese whisper. There's a proverb in Chinese whisper. ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇੱਕ ਚੀਜ਼ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਕਹੋਗੇ, ਮੈਂ ਉਹ ਚੀਜ਼ ਇੱਕ ਦੋ ਵਰਡ ਵਧਾ ਕੇ ਕਿਸੇ ਹੋਰ ਨੂੰ ਕਹੂੰਗਾ, ਉਹ ਬੰਦਾ ਇੱਕ ਦੋ ਵਰਡ ਵਧਾ ਕੇ ਕਿਸੇ ਹੋਰ ਨੂੰ ਕਹੂਗਾ, you know. So
Mm.
but crux ਉਹਦਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਸਾਰ ਹੈ ਉਹਦਾ, ਉਹ
Mm.
ਨਹੀਂ ਚੇਂਜ ਹੋਣਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ. ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਇਲਾਵਾ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੀ ਫੀਲਿੰਗਸ ਜਿੰਨੀ ਮਰਜ਼ੀ ਪਾਈ ਜਾਓ to justify that crux.
जी.
You can add a lot of things,
Mm.
right? But then the crux should be there. Right.
Absolutely.
Same thing happened, I guess, in Gurbani too, where like as in the crux is to do Naam Simran, and then there's a whole lot of explanation and a whole lot of different kind of references from the old text, you know, the surroundings, the
Mm.
happenings.
Mm.
Crux ਉੱਥੇ ਹੀ ਆਉਂਦਾ ਹੈ
ਤਾਂ ਤਾਂ ਉੱਥੇ
ਕਿ
ਆਂਦਾ ਇੱਕ ਤੇ
ਤੱਤ ਉੱਥੇ ਹੀ ਆਉਂਦਾ ਹੈ, you know? Yeah.
ਜੀ
So that should be there. You can give a whole lot of different examples just to justify that one crux. So
जी
the one crux, we should preserve that one crux in terms of story, in terms of different kind of mediums. Now that we have different kind of mediums, in old times there were only texts. You know, people
excellent
used to people used to go to schools where Maulana is like as in teaching you a language in Urdu, but ਉਹ ਸਿਰਫ ਉਰਦੂ ਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਪੜ੍ਹਾ ਰਿਹਾ, ਉਹ ਹੋਰ ਵੀ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਪੜ੍ਹਾ ਰਿਹਾ, right? It's just not alif be te and then just go to home. And then same thing with the Pandit. He's not teaching you just Sanskrit.
Yeah.
Same thing with people are not teaching you just Punjabi only. They're
Mm.
giving you references from Gurbani where you are writing, like as in how to write Guru Prasad, and they explain you what Guru Prasad is.
Others.
So
Yeah.
I was, you know, happened to stumble upon. I guess this is one page. I don't remember. It's Farid. But let me Farid quote. Hold on. ऐसे like phone नाल रखी दे है. Jagdeep Farid quote. So
Jagdeep.
his page. Jagdeep Farid quote. He wrote a book Hanne Hanne Patshahi. Like as in, I haven't read it, but then the reviews are very good. I have ordered it. Maybe I'll read it soon. So he was. I guess he went to Pakistan and to Nankana Sahib, and he was showing on his reel. One of his reel is like where he's showing to people like how in Pakistan Gurmukhi is taught to people.
Mm.
So like as in, it's not just Uda Eda. So when they teach about, like as in, when they teach to children how to write words, they pick the words from Gurbani itself. So
Mm.
by the time they learn the whole Panti Akri,
Mm.
they learn Japji Sahib too, to form the sentences, to form the words, and to form different kind of things. How cool is that? Like, as in,
That's
how
great.
cool is their syllabus where they're teaching students to write Gurmukhi,
Mm.
taking references from Gurbani only.
Mm.
So if you are teaching them the words, you might have to explain the meaning of it too.
Yeah.
A for apple, apple दिखाने भी दिया ना आपको. You know,
Haji. Haji.
if you're teaching some kind of word, you have to explain it to them too.
जी जी.
So think about, like, as in, ਜਿਹੜਾ 5 ਸਾਲ ਦਾ ਬੱਚਾ ਹੈ,
Mm.
who's learning Gurmukhi and who's done with his Panti.
Yeah.
He's memorized the whole Japji Sahib. Like, as in, that's their syllabus in Pakistan, like, as in Ghana Sahib.
That's amazing.
Those are the things. Those are the things that actually needed to be implemented universally.
Personally, yeah. Yeah.
Like as in order to, like as in, if
Mm.
at all we want to, like as in, save, and people are doing amazing job. We don't even know.
Mm.
We like as in, मैं तो स्टूडियो च बैठा सिर्फ पेंटिंग कर रहे हैं. मैं the interaction study the interaction, like as in, मेरी interactions भी बहुत घट है लोग का ना. Like as in,
जी जी.
like I said, I'm not a pracharak. I just do these. This is very selfish motive right now. Like as in, I just do these just for myself. Like as in, people like it, they buy it, and they have ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ I guess ਸ਼ਰਧਾ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਰਿਸਪੈਕਟ ਮੇਰੇ thinking ਤੋਂ ਵੀ ਬਹੁਤ ਅੱਛੀ ਹੈ. Like as in, like as in, I can't even think of, and I'm very grateful, I'm very thankful that कि ये चीजें सामने भी आ रही हैं, and then people are acknowledging the work.
जी.
It's not about me, it's just work only. But then मैं भी ऐदा ही सीख रहे हैं. Like as in, I'm still on a learning stage. I'm no one to, like as in, say anything. But I'm a designer, and I happen to learn about, like as in, process of design, where you actually make the design, you test it, you implement it, you take the feedback, and then you redesign it.
Again.
That's the whole design process.
जी 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 जी.
So we can only try doing different things. What can be done to, in order to save these things. Visual is one which I am trying. Like as in, I do have a lot of ideas which I'm working on, and like ਰੱਬ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਕਰੇ ਸ਼ਾਇਦ ਉਹ ਵੀ ਬਹੁਤ ਸਪੀਡ ਵਿੱਚ ਨਿਕਲਣ.
जी
And
जी.
I guess those things might help. ਮੈਨੂੰ ਤੇ help ਕਰ ਰਹੀਆਂ, might help, like as in, different people, in terms of, like as in, I want people to read those things, and ਸ਼ਾਇਦ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਉਹ ਚੀਜ਼ ਯਾਦ ਹੋ ਜਾਏ with the visuals.
Yeah.
ਜੇ ਅਗਰ ਇੱਕ ਵੀ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਯਾਦ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ ਉਸ ਚੀਜ਼ ਤੋਂ, ਜਾਂ ਇੱਕ ਵੀ ਕੋਈ ਚੀਜ਼ ਯਾਦ ਹੋ ਗਈ, I'll be more than happy. Like as in, that's the whole, I would say, the whole purpose of starting doing paintings as
Mm.
such. It's for my memory also, and if it's helping someone to make their memory or memorize these things, that's amazing. मजा आ
जी जी
जाएगा.
We've
Yeah.
got two more questions to left, Virji.
हाँ
Thank you
जी.
for providing your this wisdom that you've already experienced. It's just blissful having a listen at them. So, what advice would you give to emerging artists, emerging Sikh artists interested in traditional art forms and trying to put their innovations into it? Like, can you just mention that briefly to them to like give them an advice?
Yeah, I would say, like, as in, don't ask for approval yet, like, as in from the Sangat and stuff. Like, as in, I guess Sangat have seen a lot of similar paintings since Sobha Singh. Sobha Singh did
जी
an
जी जी
he did an amazing job, like, as in his time, and he actually, like, made sure the Sikh paintings, like, as in spread throughout the world, and it did.
and they did.
But then now we have more resources in terms of research, in
Mm.
terms of the stories, in terms of like, as in, where we have, like, as in, written documents or written for, like, as in, the photographs from old times of the weapons itself, on different things. You just have to connect the dots and make the painting. So
Yep.
if you want to at least be true or be honest, don't think about, like, as in, whether it will be accepted from the Sangat, because, like, as in, even they don't know exactly, like, as in, I would say, in terms of history or visual history. Maybe they know, they have like, as in, fixed kind of set.
Mm.
But then you can learn from the research and from the history itself, and you just have to justify your painting or
Mhm.
your idea rather than justify the whole world. If you want to justify the world or the consumers, you should be in advertising rather than be a painter or be a
Mm.
fine artist, I would say. And if you do that honestly, just be honest to yourself, you'll find your own audience eventually. And apart from audience, like, as in, the learning you'll get is far more superior than getting acknowledgement, I would say.
ਜੀ
It'll ਉਹ ਆਪੇ ਹੀ ਆਈ ਗੈਸ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਕੰਮ ਵੀ ਵਧੀਆ ਕਰ ਦੇਗਾ, ਐਂਡ ਆਪੇ ਉਹ ਸਾਰੀ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਆਪੇ ਹੀ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦੀਆਂ ਆਈ ਗੈਸ. ਲਾਈਕ ਆਈ ਕੈਨ, ਮੈਂ ਆਪਣਾ ਐਕਸਪੀਰੀਅੰਸ ਦੱਸ ਸਕਦਾ, the way I started doing things, and I just happen to post it on Instagram. I just share what I do, right? And I've got backlash from a lot of people too, like, as in, some, like, as in, at one point of time there was, like, as in, Gala Gulavi, and then, like, it's
Yeah.
okay. Like, it's just the Instagram works like that. The trollers are always there.
Mm.
But then I've never lost the honesty to myself in terms of the topic.
हाँ जी
I just want to, like, as in, justify the whole topic I was doing, and I just want to be honest to myself in terms of my feeling and my experience. जे अगर ऐदा है तो ऐदा ही है, like, as in, who am I to change it? Like, as in, if there's a whole lot of writings or a whole lot of like, as in, fixed history there, there's different kind of things you can actually pick it up from things, and then just, you just have to compose it in your feeling. So why not to do that? Why to follow the same? We have seen a lot of paintings, like, as in, of Sobha Singh,
हाँ
and it's
जी
still going on.
जी
And it's okay to replicate one, like, as in, it's okay to practice and do replications of, like, as in, that's the process of when you refine your skills in terms of, as in, painter, you
Mm.
replicate famous paintings, you replicate Picasso, you replicate, like, as in, Renaissance paintings, we, like, as in, from the community, we replicate Sobha Singh.
Mm.
But then, I guess, after a certain point of time, when you have the skills,
Mm.
just make your own perspective.
Mm.
Start making your own perspective too. Start making your learnings too. Start making your experiences too. That will, I guess, make you more unique, or eventually, like, as in, from your mindset, it'll make you more calm and peaceful, I would say. Like, as in, make you more harmonious and make you feel like you exist.
Yeah, that's amazing,
Yeah,
Virji.
and yeah, just keep doing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like as in, it's very easy to, नीचे खींचना बड़ा आसान है, and people do that a lot these days. But
Mhm.
then, and discouragement बहुत है within the community too. Like as in, if they जेकर तुसी उन किसी भी, like I said, easily, like as in, you don't have to get approval from anyone,
Hmm.
because like as in, they have a different kind of mindset. They have a certain kind of guru's image, and
जी.
they don't want to change it. Like even if you're doing a different kind of story, they don't want to change it, because
Hmm.
like as in, they have a fixed image of the guru, which is Soba Singh's painting, and they don't want to change it. It's fair for them too. Like I said, I don't want anyone to change. I just want to listen to the new topics a lot of people are covering. And just don't, at least the least you can do, the least as a Sangat you can do is don't discourage people.
Discourage.
Just don't.
Right.
Yeah. If you can't give courage to anyone, if you don't have a, uh like as in productive advice for someone, please don't discourage people.
जी.
It takes guts and it takes a whole lot of courage, first of all, to be and to research and to be in that zone and to paint and to do art, I would say, like in terms of music, in terms of visual art, in terms of anything, in
Hmm.
terms of creation.
Hmm.
It takes a whole lot of guts and it takes a whole lot of energy. It's somebody's, like as in, whole I would say experience or learning. And some people just say like as in, no, this is not right according to their perspective. You don't have to get discouraged as
Hmm.
an artist. But then for the Sangat, please don't discourage anyone. If you
Hmm.
don't like it, just please just stay silent. Just
Yeah.
move on. It's okay. You can ignore things. We ignore a lot of things going on in the world. Just ignore one more painting.
So, can you tell us more about what you're focusing on currently and how your artwork will influence the perception of Sikhs in and our culture in like arts as well as media?
Hmm. Okay. So I think कि I feel like as in, we as a like Sikh community or as a community or in general, if we go a little broader than Punjabi community, we like as in, we have no interest in literature anymore. Literature and like as an art comes in literature too.
Hmm.
Art, music rather than music, and like as in, that's subjective too. But then like as in proper music. And in terms of like as in, I'm coming from the rags we have in Guru Granth Sahib, like as in, that music I'm talking about. But then people are working on that too. In terms of art, the visual art, we I don't feel like as in there is an interest anymore. There is interest, but it's a very niche community right now. It's not in broader spectrum.
Hmm.
And for me, like as in, one, I want to like as in, my like as in, I would love to people get indulge in the arts too rather than just music, first of all. And we have a lot of different mediums too apart from these two these days, like as in films and stuff, where we can actually like as in bring out stories and stuff, like as in, and it's very easy to see series binge watching and series these days, and rather than listening to music for a long time. Some people do, some people don't, and art is the least of it. So I will like as in, I would love to have people look at art, starting to look at art. It's one thing to buy art, like as in, you don't like as in, I feel like if you buy art, it should speak to you.
Hmm.
Like as in, your home walls is not for like as in home and body shop paintings.
Hmm.
you know it's more than that. And art, whatever you choose is to buy, it should speaks to you eventually. It should give you some kind of energy when you're staring at it. When it should give you something, whether
Yeah.
you want to make a memory, whether you want to be in a different kind of energy. That's why people buy art, like as in, even now. But then shouldn't be home and body works, painting, first of all. Like as in, if you want to invest in art, invest in good art that speaks to you.
Hmm.
Or if you don't have any kind of interest in art as such, at, at least start getting interested in any kind of literature, which kind of like as in, connect backs to your culture. Start reading old literature, start reading Punjabi literature, start listening to old folk music, start listening to rags itself. Like as in, it's magic when you listen to rag with certain kind of lyrics. Rag is supposed to it's supposed to be a catalyst to your it's supposed to be a catalyst to the lyrics,
Yeah.
and it's supposed to evoke your emotions even at the further state. To
Hmm.
read a lyrics is one thing. It's like narrating a poem or narrating a like as in shairi. But
Hmm.
then you put rag on it. Rags are based on rasas, right? There are 9 rasas, like as in different
Yeah.
kind of rasas. It evokes your emotions at further state.
Hmm.
And if you can't learn it, at least you can listen to it. And it actually, even if you don't have any kind of knowledge, if you listen to certain kind of rags, you actually feel different kind of feelings.
Yeah.
And on top of it, you have the meanings of the lyrics, and you can actually say the lyrics. It
Yeah.
just it's magic. And yeah, start indulging to art in general.
Hmm.
Any form of art could be anything.
Hmm.
But like as in, I feel like right now
Hmm.
our community is mostly like as in it's just they they just their whole feeling is like as in they are connected to their communities by just going to Gurdwara.
Yeah.
They just go, they feel like if I go to Gurdwara once in a week or maybe daily,
Hmm.
do the seva. I'm not saying just stop the seva and start doing anything else. Do the seva. Everything you're doing perfectly. But this is seva too.
Yeah.
Promoting different kind of prachar, promoting different kind of stories through different medium, and be the audience of that prachar is seva too. Somebody is doing seva, making those things,
Yeah.
and they are making those things just for you only. So be
Yeah.
the audience for those people too.
Everyone, when they think of art, right, they don't see Parchar and the potential it holds to initiate conversations in general. That's
Yeah.
like that medium is like very heavily overlooked.
So even if it's not about just the prachar, I would
Hmm.
say, what's wrong in getting good in having knowledge about arts, getting good in having knowledge about music. We as a community, while I was in well, we were in Punjab in 1800s. We were good in everything.
Hmm.
We had the best musician in the Raj. We had the best artist in the Raj. We had the best horseman, craftsman. Everyone,
Was the best.
every kind of skill was respected and had the audience. But now we just only focus on certain things. I
Hmm.
mean, it's needed too, but then these things do need audience too. And we are from the same community. We need the audience too. We need the sangat too to look at our work, and it's for them too. It's not a greedy, it's not coming from a greedy perspective where we want to sell everything. Yeah, je main music banaya yaar, please suno, nahi dekhte ye ida nahi hai. This is not like that. Je main art banai hai, please dekho. It's not
Hmm.
about just the community, like as in it's for everyone. Art is for everyone, literature is for everyone, whosoever can read it. But then apart from our community, people are reading it. Why not our community can do?
Yeah.
Like as in people are getting interested. A whole lot of different communities are getting interested in our literature, and we are losing the whole gist of it. And I feel like, as in, like I gave you the example, I met one, like as in a 21-year-old boy who doesn't
Yeah.
even know the names of 10 gurus. Like as
Yeah,
in,
yeah, yeah.
that will give you an impression of where we stand today
जी, जी.
and why these things important. Like as in, people feel like it's okay if he doesn't know, like as in चलो ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਦੱਸ ਦਿੰਨੇ ਆ 10 ਗੁਰੂ ਜ਼ਮਾਨ ਦਿੰਨੇ ਆ ਰਟਵਾ ਦਿੰਨੇ ਆ ਨਾਮ
Yeah,
ਰਾਈਟ
yeah.
ਪਹਿਲੇ
Completely
ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ
different.
ਦੇਵ ਜੀ ਦੂਜੇ ਗੁਰੂ ਅੰਗਦ ਦੇਵ ਜੀ ਤੀਜੇ ਗੁਰੂ ਅਮਰਦਾਸ ਜੀ and go on. Like as in, it doesn't work that way. He
Mm,
won't be respecting that like
absolutely.
the way he's respecting Gurpurab while not eating, just going to gurdwaras and stuff. That's not respecting that.
Mm,
Like as in, we are more than that. We have a brain. Like as in, we can do a whole lot of things. We can feel a whole lot of things. We just doing nothing. I guess everyone, including me, is just running for the money.
yeah,
And आप बस फंसे हुए हैं in some kind of a race where we just have to go, and then ਸਾਰਾ ਦਿਨ ਉੱਥੇ ਲੰਘ ਜਾਂਦਾ, and then we are too tired to be just ourselves.
yeah,
And I would say, just for a little moment of a time in a day, just be yourself. Do whatever you want to. Have interest in anything, whatever you want to, and you will relate back to your roots again. No matter what you're doing, you just have to be yourself. Well, there's this shabad I just love. I listen, like as in, there's this Raggi Ghulam Muhammad Chand. I happen to listen to his composition of Har Ka Bilovana Bilovo Mere Pai.
yeah. That's amazing.
Right. So if
Or
yes,
another
so
time.
if you listen, if you listen closely to that Shabad, like in the example they have given is like as in ਜੋ ਆਪਾਂ ਮਟਕੀ ਵਿੱਚ ਮੱਖਣ ਰਿੜਕਦੇ ਆ ਪੁਰਾਣੇ ਟਾਈਮ ਚ ਮਟਕੀ ਚ ਮੱਖਣ ਰਿੜਕਦੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਸੀ ਰਾਈਟ
जी, जी, जी,
ਉਹ
जी.
ਸ਼ਬਦ ਪੂਰਾ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਉਸ ਇੱਕ ਐਕਸ਼ਨ ਤੇ ਬੇਸ ਹੈ ਸਹਿਜ ਬਿਲੋਵੋ ਜੈਸੇ ਤਤ ਨਾ ਜਾਈ ਲਾਈਕ as in ਇੰਨਾ ਆਰਾਮ ਨਾਲ ਬਿਲੋਵੋ so talking about ਨਾਮ ਸਿਮਰਨ only but the reference ਜੋ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਗਿਆ ਉਸ ਸ਼ਬਦ is the some basic activity ਜੋ ਰੋਜ਼ ਹੋ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ
Mm,
ਰਾਈਟ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਕਨੈਕਟ ਕਰਨ ਲਈ ਕੋਈ ਰੈਂਡਮ ਚੀਜ਼ ਕਰਨ ਦੀ ਲੋੜ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ
mm.
could be very basic thing you can connect it to but karo they like as in start indulge in some basic things some human things I would say ਜਿੱਥੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਐਕਚੁਅਲੀ ਗਰਾਊਂਡਡ ਫੀਲ ਹੋ ਕੇ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਿਸੇ ਨੂੰ ਧਿਆ ਸਕੋ ਕਿਤੇ ਕਿਸੇ ਨੂੰ ਯਾਦ ਕਰ ਸਕੋ ਆਈ ਵੁੱਡ ਸੇ ਲਾਈਕ ਇਸ ਇਨ ਰੱਬ ਸੋ ਦੈਟ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਇਜ਼ ਲਾਈਕ ਦੇ ਰੈਫਰੈਂਸਸ ਉਦਾਂ ਹੀ ਚੱਲ ਰਹੇ ਤਨ ਕਰ ਮਟਕੀ ਮਨ ਮਾਹੀ ਬਿਲੋਈ ਮਟਕੀ ਦਾ ਰੈਫਰੈਂਸ ਤਨ ਨਾਲ ਕੀਤਾ ਹੈ ਇਸ ਮਟਕੀ ਮੇ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਪਿਰੋਈ ਜਿਵੇਂ ਆਪਾਂ ਦੁੱਧ ਪਾ ਕੇ ਰਿੜਕਦੇ ਆ ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਪਾ ਕੇ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਰਿੜਕੋ
जी,
ਯੂ نو ਐਂਡ so it's just a basic activity he just referred it to but
जी.
then connection like I guess you don't I feel like as in whatever you do just do it with the proper I guess dhyan nal and with the proper focus and it became a meditative state and you don't have to do nothing beyond it I guess
जी,
but ਉਹਦੇ ਲਈ ਕਰਨਾ ਤੇ ਪੈਣਾ ਹੈ you know
जी.
so that's the thing and people are so indulged in their daily life they don't have time
True.
just for a minute to be themselves. I would say just be yourself and start doing it, and then guess everything will come back. Start having interest in different things. Like as in you don't. So a lot of people are preserving the old history too,
Mm.
right? But that doesn't mean we can't create history.
Yeah,
We can. At the
absolutely.
present moment of time, we can create history too. So even if you don't have interest in the previous history, the least you can do is start making new history
Yeah,
but
that's very
but within the like as in ਕਿਰਪਾ ਕਾਲ ਕੇਰੀ ਉਹ ਨਾਲ ਲੈ ਕੇ
and
like as in, ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇਹ ਵਾਲੇ ਸੈਕਟਰ 'ਚ ਨਹੀਂ ਆਣਾ a lot of people are doing like as in a lot of research in the back history like as in how things were like as in done in the previous state and like as in the Raj itself and before the Raj like as in how the warriors were there, like as in how we kind of established the Raj.
mm,
But if you don't have interest in previous history, like I said, a lot of people don't. Like I said, history is kind of like a boring subject to a lot of people. Start creating new things, then
Correct.
hide. Just be connected to your cultured roots. Don't just throw it away and then be like, no, no, gee, it
Mm.
doesn't work like that.
Preservation and innovation both go hand in hand.
Yes, both. Yes.
Mm.
We like as in ये ना होए कि आप preserve करते रहिए and then eventually when we look at the present and we will be like we were not innovative enough and we just lost a whole lot of decade.
Yeah. Ji.
Maybe a century. You never know. Like as in, but so start doing like as in what I like about doing paintings. Not I'm not just talking about me. I'm talking about the rest of the artists which I got inspired from. Like as in they are giving a modern take on each and every story, and I just love it. If you see artists these days, like as in whosoever is working or the references they are taking or their topics are from the Sikh history or maybe somehow related to the culture itself, look at their modern take of like as in doing these stories in their perspective. This is kind of the innovation we want also.
Ji. Ji.
They are preserving the history too in their own manner, but they are creating something new for the like the coming generation or the younger generation.
Mm.
So this is the kind of work we, I guess, need. And we have to be innovative in terms of prachar too. There's a certain sect which follows the old prachar, but there's a whole lot of people, those who can follow new set of prachar too. Like as in, be it literature, be it like as in different kind of medium, we can create something. I would say right now, series and movies are like as in everyone they can spend 12 hours a day binge watching these things.
Yes.
And even if we have different kind of animated stories going on,
Mm.
in terms of movies and stuff, but the quality of it, I still I still love to see that Ramayana, the Japanese Ramayana. The quality, the mere quality they've done is amazing.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I would love to watch it again and again.
Mm.
Right? It's unique. It's done differently. The Ghibli style of it. Like, isn't people love those things.
I feel like
And
we have the stories, right? Like we
we
have
have the stories.
have the
Yes,
content, but it's just a matter of implementing that. I feel like je ho janda ya, then it's gonna make like such a big difference.
I would I would say a lot of people are ready to do it, but then it's just matter of like as in accepting it in
Hmm.
different mediums too. To accept the stories, not just in books,
जी,
accept the same stories in different mediums.
जी. So वीर
But I feel like as in, yeah, I mean,
हाँ जी, हाँ
I
जी.
think
We are
we go on and
very well
on.
with time, but like um can you provide us with like more on what you're currently doing
What I'm
in
currently doing, well, I'm working on a few different paintings right now, like as in a few commissions. Uh, I'm working on with so fortunately, like as in I've been like as in selected for the Mohalla 9 calendar next year, so I'm working on
that's
that. And apart from that, I do have some personal projects which is going on. One is basically I'm working on the Janam Sakhi of Guru Nanak Dev Ji with the modern visuals.
yeah, you told
And
me.
not that just this, yeah, but I'm working not just with the story itself. I'm working with the Gurbani. It's lovely. Like as in बहुत मजेदार है.
जी, जी. चढ़ते
Yeah.
चढ़ते.
So
So thank you
um,
so much today. You've given your time, you've given us so much insight on our.
thank you so much. Like as in to see, like as in you thought, like as in I'll be of any kind of any हैसियत या any औकात that I could speak to something. But then thank you so much. This is all you. And usually say like as in ਸਭ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਨਜ਼ਰ ਦਾ ਕਮਾਲ ਹੈ, and it's all because of you, your vision and your eyes only. I don't know, like as in, I just do. That's
ਜੀ
it, like as in, ਇੰਨੀ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਸਭ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਹੀ ਆ, and I am very grateful and thanks to you guys, like as in, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਬਸ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਬਣਾਏ ਰੱਖੋ, and
ਹਾਂਜੀ ਵੀਰ ਜੀ,
think yeah,
hopefully things should go well in the art spectrum ਤੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਫਿਰ ਹੁਣ we'll finish this off here. um
sure.
so much for this. ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ
ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ।